This is not what I want to be on a sport bike. Why is this clay? The nannies actually make this motorcycle rideable. Oh gee, well look at that. You need a new ECU. You might as well just buy a whole new motorcycle, bud. This is the only way you can start the bike. What happens if you lose the key? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Yammie Noob, and today it's Spite on the Fireblade. Is he gonna say how bad sport bikes are? No, I promise I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm actually going to talk about something that's a little bit more near and dear to my heart as somebody who goofs around with building PCs and wrenching on motorcycles at the same time. It's the right to repair. Are we losing it as motorcyclists? Because I kind of think we are. Stay tuned, should be a good one. Okie doke, so what the heck am I even talking about? The right to repair. What is the right to repair? Some of you down in the comments section have probably heard of this term before, and it has to do with the right of the end user, the consumer, to go out and repair their fridge, their radio, their phone, their PC, whatever it is. They have the right, theoretically, to go in and work on their own stuff. And I think that with motorcycles getting so technologically sophisticated, we're on the threshold of losing that right, even though nobody is actually talking about the right to repair a motorcycle. So, let's start off by talking about what technology does for motorcycles. Because technology on a bike is like legitimately a marvel of modern engineering. This motorcycle right here has 215 horsepower, and it's a rainy day out, as you can see. Well, not currently raining, but it's threatening to rain. And this bike on the side of the tire, in anything other than dry conditions, would be a hairy handful if it did not have any sort of nannies. Not to mention the fact that it's a handful on its own in the dry, and the nannies actually make this motorcycle rideable, and that's really cool because this has an engine with the same bore and stroke as Marc Marquez's GP bike. I mean, how awesome is that? Who wouldn't want to get a motorcycle that has the same engine style or the same setup basically as their favorite racer? I mean, whether or not you care to admit it, if you follow racing, chances are you watch a race and you go out and ride just a little bit different after you watch that race. You're out there, it's like leaving an action movie when you're a kid and you start walking like the hero in the action movie. Well, with motorcycles like this, you can almost go do it. You know, the only thing really separating a WSBK rider on this motorcycle and you on this motorcycle is your skill. And you can sit there as long as you want and hone your skill and hone your craft and get to that point. And you can just go buy this motorcycle, man. You can buy a World Superbike motorcycle. And good grief, there's still a lot of sand out here on Lime Creek, so you'll forgive me for taking it easy on this absolute fire-breathing animal. I'm definitely going to be relying on the technology to usher me safely through, because I know I'm going to hit some wet spots here and there, and I'm sure the traction control is going to help save me, even though I'm really not pushing it. But anyway, so you have all this tech that's making crazy motorcycles rideable, and it's allowing manufacturers to push the limits more and more with each coming model year. And I'd actually say we're probably getting to the limit of what can be pushed out of street motorcycles. Whether or not you agree, that's a conversation for another day. But we're going to reach a point of diminishing returns where a motorcycle, to become a tenth or Oh, good lord. This is not what I want to be on a sport bike. Why is this clay? Okay. I'm just gonna go real easy for a minute here, guys. I was not anticipating having to roll through wet sand and clay on this motorcycle. Anyway, so you've got motorcycles that are, you know, so crazy powerful and so technologically laden, and it makes it so that you can go out and just enjoy whatever bike you want and kind of not have to worry about it so much. The Ducati, for example, the 1098, is super powerful, ton of torque, and no nannies whatsoever. The Busa is the same way too, the Gen 1 Busa. And you have to think and worry all the time about whether or not it's going to buck you off, or whether or not you're going to slip the rear tire mid-corner, or do something silly that's going to send you down. And that's not fun to have to be worrying about while you're riding. And technology makes it so that you don't have to. However, there is a bit of a downside to that, and it's brought about by all of these systems on the motorcycle being interconnected. And I couldn't think of a better motorcycle to talk about it on than this one. I actually just finished writing the script for our comprehensive review, and it made me think a lot about the experiences that I've had on this motorcycle. And the two that come to mind are when we swapped the exhaust on this bike and when we put the tune on this bike, because those two experiences were a lot more difficult than they should have been. Think about it like this. So when we went to do the slip-on this motorcycle, we had to go in and pull out the servo, and normally it's just right up under the tail, but because this is so performance oriented and there's so much technology on here, it was actually kind of hard to find where that servo lives. Normally it's always up under the tail, but this time the wires ran in weird places and all sorts of other stuff that you don't normally see. And so what should have been like a half an hour job ended up being like an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of work, because, you know, it was hard. And tuning this motorcycle, you cannot tune this bike because, or we can't flash this bike because the cracked ECU stuff is just not there yet. You know, you have to get somebody to come in through your computer and do a remote portal and run a bunch of programs and stuff. It's really hard to do that. And another story comes to mind. When we were in Utah, I was riding the BMW R1250 GS. It was a brand new one. I think it was maybe 2019 or 2020. And the guys there worked on that bike. They do all the maintenance on it themselves. But they couldn't clear the regular service maintenance thing from the screen that reminded you to go to a BMW dealership and have it done by a certified tech. They couldn't clear that because they didn't have the little Game Boy to plug in to the bike so that they could clear codes. And that's where all motorcycles are heading, especially as we get closer and closer to electric vehicles, or electric motorcycles and hybrid motorcycles and all sorts of EU emissions and all that crazy stuff. You're going to see it more and more on a lot of different bikes. And it's something that the average home mechanic can't fix. So that's where I come to think of the right to repair. Do we still have the right to repair, to tinker with our own motorcycles? And everybody's going to be like, well, yeah, of course we do. Of course we do. We can still go get exhausts and mirrors and all sorts of cool stuff for our bike, right? Well, yeah, you can get it, but it's going to throw codes. For example, we don't have the servo buddy in this motorcycle, and that's why it has a check engine light, because the computer has not been fooled into thinking that there's still a servo on here. We just pulled the servo and the plug's sitting in the tail. To get that to go away, now, because we ran it, we need to go get the servo buddy and go to a dealership to have somebody clear that trouble code for us, because we can't clear it through the dashboard. Unless we buy the special tool, right? And they're not just gonna sell it. Like, you can't go to Honda and be like, I need the code reader. I need to buy the code reader for this motorcycle. Honda's not gonna sell that to you. Are you kidding me? They want you to go to the dealership to get it worked on by a factory-trained technician. Now, when it comes to this motorcycle, I can think of two reasons why they would want to do that. A is the not so sinister reason being that this motorcycle is ridiculously hopped up and so performance oriented that they do not trust the average home mechanic to treat this thing with the respect that it deserves. I could totally see Honda doing that. You know, they're a little bit more of a stoic company as it comes to motorcycle companies. They're definitely going to be more inclined to not let you wrench on a bike this sophisticated. The other reason is more sinister, and it's what you see currently happening in the tech industry, where if you go in and try to fix something, you void the warranty instantly, and then if you break it, you need to buy a new one. I'm pretty sure there was a news report about the new iPhone that came out. Maybe it wasn't news, or like Engadget or something like that. Put out a article saying that the new iPhone has even more sophisticated prohibitions to keep you from going in and fixing your own phone, because they know when you accidentally crack that screen that you need to go buy yourself a whole new $1,000 iPhone. And they know for a fact that people are going to crack their screen and go buy a new iPhone. But what happens if we get to a point with motorcycles where, oh boy, you know, you did this thing and now your warranty's void, and shoot, I wish we could fix it, but we can't. We just can't work on it anymore because you voided the warranty. And if you want us to work on it, well, it's going to cost us double for labor and all that stuff because we don't know what you did. And oh gee, well look at that, you need a new ECU. You might as well just buy a whole new motorcycle, bud. Now admittedly, that's a stretch. I don't think that that's really going to happen, where they're going to be like, oh, we need to get you a whole new bike because you did something. I don't think they're going to intentionally put in stuff that's going to brick your vehicle if you try to work on it. But I could absolutely see dealerships charging you double on labor for a job where you weren't supposed to do it at home. You did it at home and something went wrong and now you need a professional to do it. I could totally see that being the case. So does all this technology mean that we're surrendering the ability to work on, maintain, and modify our own motorcycles? Honestly, I kind of think it is. And that's why, you know, I tend to think that there's got to be a butter zone in technology on bikes where, you know, we don't have every single little thing controlled by the computer, but we have enough on there to make silly motorcycles safe and rideable. I think that butter zone is on motorcycles like this, you know, where we have crazy power. I think that butter zone is a couple levels of traction control, wheelie control, that sort of thing. Probably different rider modes and all that stuff. But other than that, don't let the computer control it. Like this suspension right here. What happens? What happens if that box right there, whatever that box is, has a problem? How are you gonna fix that? I don't know. So you really gotta take a second and think, well, as a home mechanic, do I want something this crazy technological? I don't think you do. But if you're buying a motorcycle like this, are you really a home mechanic? Probably not. I mean, it's $28,000, $28,500 actually. With the flash and the full the slip-on exhaust system, it's probably closer to like 30 grand, 3,100 or 31,000 bucks. That's a lot of money to put down for your motorcycle, like a lot of money. So chances are you're probably not wrenching on it yourself. But this is a topic where I'd actually really like to hear what y'all think down below. So go ahead and let me know what you think about, are we surrendering the right to repair our own motorcycles because we want them to be fancier, we want more technology? You know, another thing that's kind of annoying about this bike, bothers me. What if you lose your key? This is the only way you can start the bike. What happens if you lose the key? There's literally no spot in the triple tree where you can plug your key in and turn it on. This is going to be really expensive, guys. And you can't fix that if you lose it. You can't even start your bike. That is just for the gas tank. So go ahead and let me know down below, what do you think about technology limiting our ability to repair and modify our motorcycles? It's a kind of a contentious topic because I think a lot of people really love technology because it makes the ability to live action role play as Marc Marquez possible on a bike like this. But I don't know. Is this right here worth having to buy another like $300 key if you lose it or break it? I don't know. Now, with all that being said, don't forget, if you want to win this Fireblade right here, click the links down in the description below. Get yourself signed up to win. Your time is running out to get entered to win a $30,000 motorcycle. Click those links down below. Get yourself signed up. And who knows, maybe this thing, this marvel, wonder of modern technology on two wheels, it might show up in your driveway. That would be really cool if this showed up. I'm not even a sport bike guy, but guys, this motorcycle is just so sweet. Well, with all that pontification being done, I'm going to go ride this bike a little bit because today's actually the last day where I will have an opportunity to ride this bike, and it's kind of bittersweet. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Woo-wee, I tell you what, there's another Yammie Noob video right over here waiting for you. It's Yosemite Yam, back at it again, upgraded from Cowboy Yam by popular demand. Tell you what, click on this video right over here, gonna get you cowboying, hooting and hollering, having all kinds of fun, cutting up with your buddies out there watching another Yammie Noob video. Woo-wee!